Aloha, shalom. Today is the new moon. Look who is right there in my face as soon as I remove my cards from my little bag. This is the bag that holds the deck that I use just for the collective activations alone. I use different decks for different things, and this one has been designated for the last few years just for you guys, for these collective activations. It feels so good to be doing this outside again. So today's the new moon. This is the new moon activation, but for those of you who are new to watching these videos, these readings actually have nothing to do with the moon. We only use the moon as a measurement of time. The moon is a way that we can gather 4 times every month and do these readings. So it's just an easy way to keep track and keep with this specific rhythm that we've been riding. So I'm just going to shuffle as you guys are tuning in. So what is the new moon activation always about? It's always about, because the light of the moon is really just reflecting something that's going on back of all things. It really doesn't have to do with just the moon, right? When the moon is new, it's telling us that there's something new within us, within all things. A fresh start, a new beginning, time to set new intentions, to open up to the potential of a new beginning, right? Seeing as we are one with nature, we're taking this opportunity for a new beginning and capitalizing on that energy, riding the wave of universal support. I'm tuning in as always from Sedona, Arizona. Super magical place that I've been living for many years now. If you're wondering where I'm from, born and raised in Queens, New York, but came out here many years ago with a vision. Bought a one-way ticket, and here I am. And where are you tuning in from? Everybody drop a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from around the world. I love to see the grid that we build each time. Go ahead and let me know where you're tuning in from. And then when you're ready, go ahead and let go of whatever thoughts you've been carrying all day, all week, all month. Portugal, Maryland, let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from, guys. I see y'all tuning in right now. We have more people joining us. North of Boston. Hey, everybody. So good to see you all tuning in. Massachusetts, Montreal, Canada. Beautiful. We have more and more people tuning in. Let me know when you arrive where you're tuning in from. Maine, Australia, Scotland. Hi there, everybody. British Columbia, New York, right? Oh, I see York. Thought I saw New York. PA, Pennsylvania, Ohio. Beautiful. So good to see you guys tuning in, and we're just creating this web right now as we're preparing to receive the message that we're all going to unite under. South Carolina, California, so much love. We're all showing up wherever we are with so much love and openness, receptivity. Scotland, Vegas, beautiful. So we're all showing up, right, with this receptivity, with this willingness to receive this message. And that's beautiful, that we can all show up in that same frequency of openness. Thank you for creating this space with me. Well, for tuning into the space with me. There's energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. So if we're honest, what are we really doing right now? We're not creating a space. We're meeting in that place that is the space of the heart. The timeless, infinite expansiveness of that space is where we're meeting each other right here and right now. And that's awesome. New York, Boston, France. Hello, world. All right, I'm feeling just about ready. So again, let go of whatever it is you've been carrying so that we can open up all parts of our being to receive the message that is about to come in. Then go ahead and shuffle yourself into the deck. See yourself maybe here now with me, or just feel a connection to these characters of the deck, which are actually archetypes representing aspects of your own mind. And we can meet in those frequencies no matter where we are physically. And so that's where we're meeting here now. Connect with the deck, and I'll begin. Thank you in advance, archetypes, faces of the one, for showing us some hints that will be helpful as we begin this new cycle. Okay, so I'm seeing a couple of things. I'm seeing first, where are we headed, and what is the challenge that we're currently facing in order to initiate taking that first step toward arriving at that place. So we have the place that we're headed, right? Sort of like this month's theme that's just beginning. And then the very first challenge that we're receiving, which as we unlock this challenge, as we ace this challenge, it will be the first step to crossing that bridge that's going to get us to that place we want to be. So let's start in reverse. Let's see, before the challenge, which we usually do first, let's see, where are we going? What is this month going to show us? Where is this month going to take us? Lord of Oppression. This card is known as 10 of Wands. 10s are endings and new beginnings, whereas 9 is just the ending. 10 is ending and new beginning. Think 1 through 9, 10 begin again. It's the one going on another round, going on another ride on the wheel in the sky. And it's Wands, so it's the suit of fire, the suit of spirit. Saying where we are headed is toward this opportunity to set down a burden that we've been carrying for a really long time. Something that maybe up until this moment we haven't even thought could be put down. Something that it's like almost unimaginable, right? Like there's no way I'm ever gonna get through this. This pain that I've been carrying, this huge burden I've been dealing with, how will it ever go away? It's so heavy. I can't even imagine it going away, right? So this is like the feeling that we've been feeling perhaps for a very long time. There's something that's been weighing heavy on our minds that we haven't even seen an end in sight. We haven't even been able to imagine it. But this is a little message showing us that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that there is going to be this grand opportunity to set that burden down, to finally let go of that weight, to finally see that end in sight and then manifest it. And someone's asking, how does this information actually help? How can it actually change people's lives? It's all NLP. Have you ever heard of that? It's all mental. It's like dismantling the programs that are in place and then reprogramming, replacing those programs with ones that are actually helpful, right? So these are very simple messages. It doesn't take a lot to integrate their truth. This one, for example, how can it help? It's showing you that you got to start to open up your mind to the possibility that there is an end in sight, that there absolutely always is a chance to set the burden down, to do the work we need to do to let go of that weight in each moment, but now more so than ever. That's why it's coming up as a priority card. That's why it's showing its face. That's why it's being revealed, because it's saying that right now we particularly are being supported to do this. That's all. It's not some fantastical idea that some angel is going to fall out of the sky and wave a wand at your face and make everything better. It's all about changing your perspective, shifting your mindset, opening up to new potential. Just even getting out of your usual way of thinking and moving into a more inspired, progressive, and spiritual way of thinking. with like-minded people who are sitting here right now, right? 96 people in this exact moment. Oh, it just dropped. 90 people now, right? In this exact moment, watching all together, supporting you to rise to this way of thinking. That's all. It's not some crazy, far out, magical thing that's just going to drop on your head. You have to do the work. It's all about the mind. It's all about mentality and reprogramming that. And so we're here right now together doing it. And you don't have to come here with all these crazy expectations, because that's when you will be disappointed, because that's the thing in life, right? When you have these expectations, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So just come, be open, relax, and enjoy. And if you don't want to, exit. Just hit the X. So anyways, back to the card. This is where we're headed. A chance to finally set down this super uncomfortable thing we've been dealing with, this super painful thing we've been dealing with, that's been keeping us from our soul's growth. Okay, something's coming in right now that I want to share. And tell me if this resonates with you. Feel free to leave a comment. A way that we can begin to allow for this to take place, right? Even though it may have felt impossible up until this moment, even though we may not have even considered the light at the end of the tunnel up until this moment, we must begin to actually see it, right? We have to feel, what would it feel like to put this burden down? Because maybe I've been so consumed by the burden itself and that discomfort, shame, guilt, pain, whatever it is that has come with that burden, that I haven't been taking enough time to just picture and feel what it would be like if I were to set that burden down. But what if? Not, oh, but it can't happen. Not, I don't want to hear the excuses, right? I'm talking to myself. No, Rebecca, I don't want to hear the excuses about, but that can't happen. But no, let me tell you 1,000 reasons why I can't set this burden down. No, just for one moment. What if? But what if? What if by some miracle it could happen? Right? Just what if? And then sink into that and really feel into that. What would it feel like if I were to be free of this burden? What would my life look like, feel like, manifest like, if I wasn't holding that frequency of pain, of guilt, of shame, if I wasn't carrying this heavy burden? What would it feel like? Maybe we've become so accustomed to this pain or this burden that we've forgotten to ask the universe, God, Allah, Hashem, what great spirit, whatever you want to call it, that we've forgotten to ask for something better, that we've forgotten to ask for what we want because we've been so busy just accepting the pain of what has been. We can't be comfortable in our shame, our guilt, our fear, our pain, our doubts, and simultaneously be tuning into that higher frequency of what it actually is we want to manifest. You can't be the two at once. You have one vessel to allow your consciousness to embody, right? You have this one vessel, this one beingness that needs to direct its focus this way or that. You can't be split. That inner conflict manifests as outer conflict, and you will drive yourself insane. You can't accept the way things have been and then also create a new way. You're conflicted. That's not using your energy properly. That's scattering your energy and not directing it this way or that. In fact, it's not going to even be manifested this way or that. Those two opposing awarenesses are going to be conflicted within you. And you're not going to get anywhere. You'll just be wasting all of your energy. Right? So how can we just for a moment give up the excuses and see, no, what would it look like if this burden were to be gone? If this pain were to end? If a magical solution were to come along, what would that feel like? We're so busy focused on what we don't want, all the suffering. What about what we do want? Even if it were only a dream, can you close your eyes and just begin to ask for what it is you do want? Don't forget to do that, because when we become so accepting of the way things are, we perpetuate that cycle. And this is a collective reading, so I'm not just talking about the individual self and our little lives. I'm talking about our shared life together as one collective consciousness. What do we want for our world, for our children, for the next 7 generations? What do we want for each other? What do we want for our countries? Not our country, our countries, because we are one united world. What do we want for each other? What do we want for our parents? What do we want for our friends? What do we want for our loved ones? What do we want even for the strangers in the world? Can we be clear? What do we really want? Because if we occupy ourselves with that thought process and that sort of a meditation and that sort of a vision, then we can't be busy with the other stuff. Then we can't be busy with the burden. Then we can't be busy just accepting the way things have been, because we're so sitting with what we actually do want. Allow that to consume you. Allow those visions and those feelings of a future that is brighter to consume you. Because there's no harm in that. Because there's no pain in that. You've been sitting with the burden for so long. It can't hurt to just step out of that for a moment. It's okay to let it go for a moment. And just let it be over there for a moment. For a moment. Just see where that takes you. So anyway, this is the first card. This is the opportunity that we're heading toward this month, okay? We're being shown the seed of that fruit right now. Why? So that we can add our awareness to it, which is like the water that makes that seed grow, right? What you focus on grows. Where attention goes, energy flows, right? So we're being shown this right now so that we can support this process that is already naturally unfolding. Even if this wasn't coming and you think it's BS, right? The fact that we're now proposing this idea as inspiration is everything. We're creating it to be so. This one popped up, this card out of all the cards, so that we may focus on the inspiration of finally feeling the opportunity to put that thing down that we've been carrying. We've been so busy carrying it that we haven't even thought of it to be a real thing, like to be a real opportunity that could be on its way. So just by bringing this into our awareness, it's helping us to ask for that light at the end of the tunnel. It's helping to remind us that we can do that when we're ready, Okay, so this next one is going to be connected to this card, and it's going to reveal to us what maybe has been in the way up until now that has not allowed us to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Something that has been keeping us from asking for that burden to be set down. This is the challenge that we're about to reveal. And again, it's the first challenge that we must face right now in order to take the first step to move toward the goal of setting that burden down. And we have another wands. Okay, we have another wands card. Out of all the cards, this is what's coming up here. We have the 10, and we have the 4 of wands. And 4 is always about form, structure, stability. You could think of like the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac that are kind of the pillars for the rest to do their thing, right? It's like the square that surrounds and protects the circle of life within it. Four is the form, like the body, for the spirit to enter and do its thing, because without the body, spirit, light already exists perfectly in another dimension, but it comes here and into our bodies so that it can do something with our body, our senses, our being, so that it can be manifested here on this plane. Without our bodies, the spirit can't do what it came here to do. So that's just a little bit about the number 4. But here, the 4 of wands, again, wands is fire, spirit. And this is our challenge. We need to create some stability, some balance. If we really want to set down this burden that we've been carrying, this really heavy burden that's been keeping us from growing spiritually, right? Because this is wands, fire, spirit. It's a burden that is affecting us spiritually. If we want to continue to progress, to grow, right? We can't fly until we set that weight down, right? You ever see that meme with like the butterfly that has like an anvil attached to it? You know, if we're so heavy, we can't rise to new states of consciousness. We can't ascend. We can't lighten up, be liberated, right? So in order to do this, this is our first challenge. asking ourselves, what do we need to reach that next level of balance? What is the thing that we're needing right now to reach that next level of balance? Why did we come here in the first place? To grow. For the soul to progress and for the psyche to progress. And so with that said, right, that always being the central point, this is why we're here. We are these magicians to work that magic. Magic being for our soul's progression and our psyche, this progression of our psyche. We're here to progress psychologically and spiritually. So with that said, what is the next step? What do we need to stabilize that growth? What do we need to do? What do we need to think? What do we need to say in order to assist ourselves on this path of reaching that next level of growth, that path of progress? What is it you're needing to learn for you to spiritually and psychologically progress? What is the lesson? You can simplify this process of finding that answer by considering the virtues. What virtue are you needing to work on? Is it honesty? Is it patience? Is it acceptance? Do you have a lot of anger? Do you need to release that anger? You can think of these simple things to kind of see where you're at on your path. What is it that you need to reach your next level of growth? Whatever that is, you need to make that your goal, and that will stabilize you on the path. If you're so focused on that, then everything else will shift around that to make that happen. But if we're so busy focused on the burden, then we forget our path, why we're here, what that next level is that we should have our eye on, that we should have our focus on. So we need to create this structure, this foundation for our minds and our spirits to be able to progress. And once we have that foundation, what else do we need? Again, everything will flow around that, just like this image I told you about a moment ago with the square, with the circle within it. It's the structure that allows for the spirit to enter and not only survive, but thrive. We need to have this structure, this foundation, this vision of our sustained success so that we can then direct our energies, emotional energies, mental energies, physical energies, into the proper channels to achieve that next level of growth. But if we don't have that stability, if we don't have that structure, and if we don't have that vision for what our next level of achievement is, then how can we get there? We will remain consumed by this burden. However, on the other end, if we do work on this right now, if we do step into this challenge with willingness and openness and receptivity, saying, yes, I accept this challenge accepted. I'm going to create this foundation for myself spiritually that's going to allow me to progress to the next level. And once I know what that next level is, I vow to dedicate my time and my energy to this process of reaching that level, getting there, actualizing that, manifesting that potential. I'm going to create the vision and then I'm going to commit to it. And if we do this right now, know that we are guaranteed to receive the opportunity that lies ahead, to set down this burden, whatever it is. Whatever the thing is that we've been carrying, we've been so consumed by it. We can't just look at it and say, how do I get rid of you? That's not how we do it. We can't just do it that way. It's not how it works. Just know that this will be a byproduct of this. We will absolutely surrender whatever that burden is as a result, as an effect of this cause. If we just focus on this, creating that foundation, that structure for us to be able to grow spiritually and psychologically, then this becomes inevitable. Okay, I'm going to pull one more because I feel called to do that. Who's the ally right now? And this will be the final card for the reading today. who is our current ally as we move through this process of creating a vision for our next level of progression, spiritually and psychologically, right? We're creating this foundation, this stability, this structure to be able to progress in all ways. And who is our ally to help us to do that? Another Wands. Another Wands. So out of this entire deck, we got 3 Wands cards. Fire, fire, fire. Spirit, spirit, spirit. 8 of Wands. We had the 10 of Wands, the 4, and now we have 8. Super powerful. 8 of Wands is all about signals, signs, paying attention to what's going on within you and around you. So this is our ally. Trust your intuition. Trust that when you are receiving these messages from Spirit, if you even for just a quick moment catch yourself going, that must be a sign, sit with that. Know that you're right. Your intuition is never wrong. 8 is balance. It's the law back of all things. So if you're receiving the foresight or you're receiving the intuition about something, know that it's for a reason. Know that it's for a reason. So this being our ally as we go through this part of the process of creating that structure, that foundation for each of us to be able to thrive and progress spiritually, psychologically. This being the ally is showing us that just pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to what's already happening. Pay attention to what's going on with nature and see how you can ride that wave and be supported by nature and be supported by the laws of the universe. How can you see what's already going on naturally, right? Because the most loyal and stable, which is something, a key word here, right? The most loyal and stable sources that we can rely upon as we begin to align our energies in a way that will help us manifest what we want are nature and the laws of the universe. Natural law and universal law. These are stable. So look to what's already happening and align yourself with that process and you will be guaranteed success. This is what the sages of the olden days did. They would look to nature, see where where we're at with the cycles and seasons of nature, accept this, right? Not fight it. Obviously, this is where we're at. They would say, this is where we are at. This is the map of the stars in the sky right now. This is where they're headed, because that's always how it's been, right? It's a cyclical story. They look to the sky, they look to nature, and they would say, okay, I see where we're at, and I'm going to align myself with those energies in a way that will help me to capitalize on them, that will help to support my goal and not hinder it. For example, if they looked to nature and the sky and they saw, oh, this is not an opportune time for me to begin a certain project, they would have the patience, right? Like the inner sage, the inner hermit tells you this, by the way. He's one of those that's inside of you, a part of your archetypal alliance. That one would speak up and say, oh, it's not time. Now is the time for you to be patient. So look around you. What's going on? What's going on? And then how can you consult with your inner archetypal alliance so that they can help guide you to align with whatever's going on right now? One of them might pop out and say, now's the time, do it, right? Like one of those more fiery, spontaneous characters, right? Like the King of Wands or the Queen of Wands inside might pop out and say, now's the time, do it. Or the Sage might pop out, or the Ace of Pentacles and say, yes, okay, we're seeing how things can manifest in that way, but soon, not yet. Pull back, be patient. But really listen, because they always have a message for you. They always have a message for you. And so the reason I'm going to this message of look for the signs in nature and look for what is stable is because sometimes we as humans get confused. What is my intuition and what's not my intuition? How do I trust it? Well, if you look to nature and you look to universal law, it's unfailing. It's unfailing. So when I say look for the signs, if you're still developing your connection to your intuition, you can always look to nature You can always look to nature. You can always look to the stars. Because it's their seasons are cyclical. Their patterns are cyclical. So if we're trying to develop a form, a pattern, a structure, we should base it on that which is reliable. That which has been reliable from the beginning of time. So again, we're moving towards setting this big burden down, starting anew on our spiritual path. And that will be a byproduct of the work we're doing right now to set the foundation and structure for us to be able to thrive and reach that next level of progress on our path. And in order to best set that foundation, we want to build it upon a reliable pattern. We want to build it upon truth that is natural and universal. And that's why we're going to look to the signs within nature, which reflect what's happening within myself. So it's confirmed from within, from my heart, not just from a book, but books are awesome. So I'm going to look to the sky, I'm going to look to the stars, I'm going to look to my tree friends, to the seasons, and I'm going to build my foundation in a way that reflects this natural rhythm, so that I can truly grow and thrive in a way that's not just material, but so that I can truly grow and thrive in all dimensions, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And so that growth can be maintained and sustained, so that I don't just do a little growth, but so that the work I'm doing right now in creating this foundation will be a structure that I can build upon for many years to come. And it will be a structure that the next generations can build upon after I, the me in this physical body, is gone. Okay, I feel pretty complete here. I'm just going to hold them up so you can see we pulled 3 Wands cards out of all of the entire deck. 10, the 8, and the 4. Thank you guys for opening this portal with me today and activating this fiery message, this fiery, inspiring message of growth and keys to progress. It is Shabbat Shalom. This week's story is Chayei Sarah. It's the current Torah story. If you want to know more about how it applies to our life right here, right now, if you want to understand the Kabbalah or the mystical import of the story, you can check out my wall. I made a video yesterday. And you can also join my private group called Shabbat Crew, where we meet every week and talk about this, talk about the Kabbalistic import of the current Hebrew Bible story and how it relates to all of us. I also have another private group for those of you who are new to these videos. It's called Royal Path. And in that group, we talk about archetypal awareness and archetypal activation, connecting to those guides within yourself who are there within each one of us, waiting to assist you and waiting to be assisted, right? Because like I said earlier in this reading, our bodies are the vessels for the light of our spirit, or the light of the virtues, to come in and make something of it. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and join our private group, The Royal Path. We also have a class that's almost done. We've been doing it weekly for many weeks now. We've been going through 1 card a week, and we are at card 21 on Thursday. However, every class has been recorded. So if you want access to this tarot course, super simple. I would love for you to join us. Just DM me and I can get you all the details. And that group, Royal Path, is where we meet in between those classes and discuss these mystical topics, mostly again around archetypal awareness and activation, and sometimes also discuss my book. So if you have the book and you're not yet a part of the group and you have my book, The Royal Path, please join the group and share your journey as you move through each activation in the story. I think it's so helpful when we meet and discuss our experience, so that way we can put all of our experiences together and reach a new level of activation through that collective sharing. That's my favorite part. That's why I created that group. So I would love to see you all there. Have an amazing weekend, everybody. It's so good to connect with you all over the world and create this web of light. Have an amazing weekend. I will see you next week for the first quarter activation, which will show us kind of where we're at, how we received this message today, and how well we really activated it. took it into our hearts and our minds and applied it. So I'll see you in 1 week to check in. Many blessings. Shalom. Aloha.